Tonight on Lost Gear, I crash a car, and crash a car. With the open wheelers, we've already tested the top tier of racing cars. Today we want to step things down a little bit. These racers are a lot less technically advanced, but therefore a lot cheaper and more accessible. If the open wheelers are the kings of the race car kingdom, these are the pawns and the simple man. And to spice things up, let's make this episode a clash of continents. From Europe, we have the Obey 8F Drafter, the latest edition that combines the best of its predecessors from German and European GT and Touring Car series. From Asia, we have a much more advanced GT racer than the efficient but basic one from Obey. This is the Emperor ETR1, an exquisite piece of engineering that has moved from Japanese GT series to worldwide endurance championships. And finally, representing the Americas, from the United States of America, we have the Sprunk Buffalo. The race version of the American manufacturer's famous muscle car, and of course, nothing represents the radical free market of the US better than adding your sponsor's name to the name of your sports car. USA! 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 First, as usual, let's look at the price tag. With $535,000, the Sprunk Buffalo is reasonably affordable. Probably because a soft drink company paid for the half of the car and you become an advertising billboard, as you can't remove the Sprunk livery from this car. The 8F Drafter costs $718,000 and comes as a regular civilian car, but can simply and cheaply be modified to a race car, which is quite common for European GT racers. And now, for advanced and pure racer, the ETR1 is available for a whopping $1,995,000. So this one actually isn't as much as a low-budget racer as you'd expect. But will you get a fast machinery with that price? Well, we'll see at the end of this episode. Now, which tests are we gonna put these cars through? Well, since this isn't the top tier of race cars, they will not be the top tier of racing drivers either. That means crashes. So let's see how these cars handle a massive crash. Starting with the Sprunk Buffalo this time, falling from the highway and landing on the roof, the Sprunk Buffalo manages a measly 2 barrel rolls and isn't destroyed too much either. It seems it is built like a tank and therefore pretty much amateur race friendly. Coming up next is the ETR1. This one is so fast we almost missed the channel and hit a power box that seems to be made out of titanium. Not so much amateur friendly, as the high speed and the sudden stop could lead to serious injuries that, in our case, have been just light. And at last, let's see the 8F Drafter. This one has a majorly spectacular crash with multiple barrel rolls and wreck at the end, where we even can look in the trunk. Beautiful. A spectacular crash in which we, as the driver, didn't even get slightly injured. Minus points have to be awarded if you want to transport a dead body in your trunk though. If you'd want to do that, you have to drive carefully. But this of course should only be the worst case scenario. To not crash, it is important to have a car that can turn properly. Let's see which of these does that the best, without sliding around like an elephant on an ice rink hopefully. The ETR1, thanks to its advanced aerodynamics, does the best here with ease. It is followed by the 8F Drafter, which is a bit heavier around the corners, and doing quite bad is the Sprunk Buffalo, which only made the step from a muscle to a sports car in theory, but could never get rid of the slidiness and clunkiness of a muscle car, which may have extreme horsepower, but the rest of it seems like it was built by a bunch of hobos, which probably isn't even far from the truth. You know what? Let's let the Americans try to build a race car again. And this is what they got us. The Declasse Hotring Sabre. Now, what's different to the Sprunk Buffalo? well, it's bigger, okay, but that doesn't make it faster. Yeah, it has more horsepower. That could be good, but what about aerodynamics? What do you mean you don't know what that is? And what do you mean by cargo left? Hotring races. You mean you let these cars drive in literal circles? What's the point in that? Oh, you're just in it for the crashes. Well, I see. You know what? Let's just take the four of them to our Fort Zancudo test track. And here we go. In the top left you see the Bravado Sprunk Buffalo. Top right you see the 8th Drafter. Bottom left it's the Hotring Sabre, and in the bottom right it's the ETR1. And off we go. So we're approaching the first corner here. Already a slight advantage for the ETR1, but this is just as we expect. 8th Drafter sits in... Oh, actually, it seems it was... Actually, the 8th Drafter is leading into the Pisswasser chicane. Pretty close between our two American cars. Now the ETR1 has gained the advantage. So that's what we expected after the handling test. Now let's see, the Hotring Sabre is ahead of the Sprunk Buffalo. Oh, but now, big slide. But this is almost impossible to not to do with the Hotring Sabre, as it is only made for slight banked left turns and not for, well, turning left and right like a regular car. And as we are talking about the Hotring Sabre, the ETR1 is already past the finish line now. First by a mile, second the 8th Drafter, and now it is very close, but the Sprunk Buffalo, because of that slide, has overtaken the Hotring Sabre. And this is where this puts our four cars of today on the Lost Gear Hall of Fame. And the very big surprise, the ETR1 manages to sit on the first page of our time screen in 8th, so only just on the first page, but it was faster than the Italian hypercars we were testing last time out. We see them on the second page, and just below them, just behind the Jugular, which remains the fastest sports car that we have tested so far, the 8th Drafter slot sign just behind it. And, well, to see our two American cars we have to scroll to page 3. So this is absolutely new in Lost Gear, that we have to take a look at this page again. And there we see the Bravado Sprunk Buffalo in 17th, which has slightly outpaced the Declasse Hotring Sabre, as we have discussed before. And that is it. The Asian car wins, but it's very expensive as well. So what do we learn from that? A lot of performance costs a lot of bucks. And with that wisdom, it's time to end our show. Thank you for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more, leave a comment with a suggestion which cars we should test next time around, and, well, until then, have a good time. Bye.